Georgia Tech shocks the world. It's the only team in the world ever in history who has shocked the world with a loss. Bulldogs.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, Bulldogs going to Atlanta, catch a 31-23 win over the 6-6 Yellow Jackets. Listen, man, listen. Say what you want to. Brent Key is changing the perspective of that brand. Georgia Tech, from what I saw out of them, now I got a little superstitious on Saturday. I thought I need to turn this off because the more I watch it, the more good things happen for Georgia. So I'm gonna turn it off, and we'll see what happens. But what I did see out of them, they're scrappy. They're very scrappy. They've got a lot of fight to them. And you could argue, Georgia played down to the level of their competition. Whatever, they kept it vanilla. Whatever. I don't care what you say. They had no business being that close. It's like Tennessee had no business playing with Austin Peay, playing with their food. But here we are, 31-23, and Atlanta was buzzing.
Yeah, you could tell that there was a ton of Georgia fans there. Obviously, it's Atlanta. It's the capital of the state. It's you could tell that there were a lot of Georgia fans making noise anytime that Georgia did anything. But the environment was great. I thought, compared to what it's been for Georgia Tech, compared to how bad and terrible they've been. Let me say this real quick. Have you seen the unfortunate RG3 tweet talking about, what Deion did at Colorado? Have you seen that? It's been,
man, I feel
he's been getting crushed for it. I mean, talking about the turnaround for Colorado, and sure, going from 1 win to 4 wins, losing 6 straight to end it, it's been getting crushed. But, he had a tweet talking about Deion in Colorado. Nobody's talking about in that same fashion Georgia Tech, South Florida, Arizona, you name it. All the teams that have been in bad to terrible spots that have had great turnarounds, and 6-6 for this Georgia Tech team is a great turnaround. I've seen a lot of complaints about the 2 touchdowns that penalties took off the board for Georgia. Okay, call it 45-23. That is way more than I thought they would do.
Yeah.
I don't care where the game's played. It was at home. I don't care if they played on the moon. 45-23, scoring 23 points. That's more than I thought they were capable of. Kind of some resemblance in a couple ways, not so much on the yardage side, but one resemblance to the Auburn output that they had through the air. You had Haynes King 11 of 20, but he did manage 158 yards on those 11 completions. But again, doing a lot more on the ground than they did through the air, 205 yards with just everybody getting in on that action. And again, I mean, you can make it, you had 1 touchdown, you had 2 touchdowns to 23. And I'm surprised that it was anywhere near that realm because it was close for much of the game.
I think the game was closer than the scoreboard shows.
I agree with that.
I think what impresses me most out of Tech is how well they ran. I mean, 44 for 205, just shy of 5 yards per carry, and it was basically done amongst 2 guys, Jamal Haynes and Nate Smith. Haynes, who went 15 for 81, and Smith, who went 15 for 68. And the long for Haynes was 23, and the long for Smith was 12, because Tennessee fans are like, well, we ran on them once, one play. So, and you know what? There was no wishbone. There was no wing tee. There was none of that stuff. There might have been some boots or reverses, that I didn't see. Matter of fact, I do think that they ran a reverse where they got a gain off of, but that's just impressive to me, man. And so from the guys at Pandemonium Reigns, applause to Brent Key and Georgia Tech for saving turning around a sinking ship, man. That program was left in absolute shambles, and having to turn the roster around from what was a wishbone wing tee, type offense. So a lot of respect for Brent Key, and now you have to wonder if he can continue to sustain this kind of success, even 7-5, 8-4 next year. Will he stay in Atlanta?
And probably not unless he finds some of that loyalty that, kind of resembles the loyalty that we're starting to see out of Lanning with Oregon, obviously with much more success in a much more set up job than this one was. I was about to question if it would be with a new quarterback next year for Georgia Tech, but Haynes King is just a sophomore, which shocks me because you had Jeremy Pruitt and Jim Chaney trying to land him at Tennessee for the to be clear before his stop at Texas A&M. Yeah. So, God, the eligibility is the weirdest thing, but yeah, I mean they're going to be returning their quarterback. They, like you just said, something that's more important than that. The fight and the kind of buzz that they have. I mean, there were some instances where they were finding success around the edges offensively. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's been the thing that I've criticized teams for trying to do against Georgia, for trying to get to even the line of scrimmage and how hard that.
You criticized us for it.
Absolutely, I did. And to an extent, there was minimal success for Tennessee there. I think you just have to. I think you have to find more success up the middle. But massive credit to Georgia Tech. The SEC championship teams probably couldn't have had worse wins on their way into Atlanta. I wonder if Kirby and Georgia will just stay there since they think their program is located in Atlanta. I wonder. But yeah, I mean, got to be the most shocking result of the week, even though it was a loss as expected.
Yeah, for sure. Props to them, though. Well, Dogs went into Atlanta, got a 31-23 win over the hated Yellow Jackets.